Chaz Lanier, where do the Cats stand with this talented guard in the portal? That is going to be the conversation on today's episode of the Wildcats Today podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Stefaniak, writer and editor over at Wildcats Today, joined as always by my co-host, Carson Nash, who has on an awesome hat, I just noticed. Dunk cam that way. Carson, how's your weekend? What's going on? How you been?
It's a great weekend. Shout out to the hospitality, Xavier. That whole baseball team is freaking awesome. So
Yeah,
I had a wonderful time up there.
Good luck to them. Conference tournament this weekend for them, right?
Yeah.
Good luck to them. Good luck to Gliz and the gang, seeing if they can get a little ring action. So, Chaz Lanier, Carson, this has been one of the most interesting portal recruitments I've seen because it's just been like so quiet. Now, he's been doing some combine stuff. He's been doing the NBA waters. He's going to be playing in college next year. The question is where. And if you are a Kentucky fan, you probably are hoping that is at Kentucky. This dude is a baller. He can shoot him and pull up the numbers on him. Last year for the North Florida Ospreys, Carson, have we gotten any closer to find out what an Osprey is?
No.
No. Okay. We'll figure that out for it. If we get them, we'll figure out what an Osprey is. 19.7 points per game a year ago. 42nd most, highest average in all college hoops last year. 4.8 rebounds. Not afraid to help on the boards. Love that. 1.8 assists. Shot 51% from the field and 44% from three, which, ladies and gentlemen, that will play. So, Carson, here's the conversation. He is a score-first guard, 1.8 assists. He's a score-first guard, 6'4", 199 pounds, from our favorite city in the world, Nashville, Tennessee. Where do the Cats stand, Carson? How do you feel about that? And then how do you feel his role would be if he were to choose Kentucky?
Yeah, I mean, after researching some things, I feel like we have a slight lead. It's always – and this recruitment, it's a little nerve-wracking that Tennessee got the last visit just since he didn't, commit on spot. But he's doing his due diligence, and, I mean, it's smart. He's an older player. He needs to figure out where he actually wants to go. But I think he fits in well with the team. He reminds me a lot of Antonio Reeves. I feel like he would play that role if he commits here. And I think he's definitely more of a two guard to me than a one. So that's where I think he would fit in with this team.
I'm with you on that. So another question we should go through here, and that is BYU, which is hilarious. Obviously, that's Coach Pope's previous school. Tennessee and Kentucky are the big dogs in this race. So I'm going to be honest with you. I just don't see him going to BYU. I think it's Tennessee or Kentucky. I think it's an SEC battle, a rivalry battle. So this is where I get concerned, Carson. If I'm Chaz Lanier, and tell me if you disagree, I believe Tennessee has more minutes to offer me. Do you agree or disagree with that statement? I've seen some folks in comments of articles I've written on Facebook say, I think Lanier could start. Do you think Lanier could be a starter? That's my question. What would how serious would this role be, and would he get more minutes at Tennessee?
Well, in my opinion, I think he would come in for us and be our star player. So I think minutes aren't going to be much of a worry for me. I think Pope's going to be able to sell him on that. I just think, he was one of the most efficient players in college basketball last year. He lights it up from threes. It's a perfect role for Mark Pope. But that also is a knock at Tennessee's roster, because I think if they don't get him, they're not going to be very good next year. So they do have a very high selling point for him to come in and just get all the shots too.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like this kid a lot. I really do. I think he's going to be a dominant player next year. And I think I would hate to see him wearing orange coming in to Rep Arena next year. I mean, that would be the worst. I mean, that would not be fun, because I think he's that good. I think he's going to be that guy in the portal that he could be your 20 points a game guy in the SEC this year that, kind of comes out of nowhere. Your Connect, Sears, obviously Sears has been in the SEC a couple years. Broom, like he could be that type of transfer. I think he'd be that type of dude for whoever he ends up with. And I really hope it's Kentucky. I just feel like Tennessee has a little bit more to offer him when it comes to minutes. And so, here's the deal. We don't know him. We don't know what's in his head. And that's what you need to know to understand this recruitment better is he, what does he want to do? Like, does he want to go play at Tennessee? Does he want to play at Kentucky? I'm with you, Carson. I believe that he starts if he comes to Kentucky. The star player, I'm just really bought in on Kobe Bray. I'm really bought in on that. And this will be a debate for when the roster's finalized. We're not going to, get into that today. But I do think he comes in, and I think he's the top 3 scorer on your team. With that, and I don't think that's debatable. I don't think that's even a conversation to have. I think he comes in, and he's the top 3 scorer on this team. So, I mean, Carson, if you had to put if I said, Carson, no cold snacks this weekend if you don't put a percentage on it. Give me a percentage for Kentucky. Give me a percentage for Tennessee. BYU, if you want to throw one in there too. Give me a percentage of confidence you feel. And Trilly Donovan, his confidence, well-known portal recruiting, coaching search type of guy. I think he had Kentucky 40%, Tennessee 35%, BYU 25%. So how do you feel about those percentages? Would you change them up a little bit?
Yeah, I'd change them up a tad, but I'd have UK at 55, Tennessee at 40, and BYU at 5.
Okay.
I just think that if he goes to BYU, it's only for NIL. There's no other reason.
You tell me they have NIL to offer?
The Mormon Church has a bunch of NIL that
really.
I've been seeing a lot of discussions. Yeah, they're willing to just completely throw a bag at him.
I did not know that. I just know the BYU was a school that threw a lot of money at players.
His family's from Tennessee, so I just don't see him going all the way to Utah to play at BYU unless it's just it's just only for NIL.
A stipple of who?
Sorry, got distracted by a phone call.
Well, a stipple
probably Dad calling me.
Stipple who? I need to know what were we going for there? Were we going for stipulation? I mean, what was the goal?
Yeah, stipulation.
Okay, well, we got halfway there. I mean, there we go. It's a Tuesday, right? Yeah, it's a Tuesday.
Yeah, it's a Tuesday.
So a couple more smaller conversations to have on the day. Another kid came and visited this week, Carson, and that is the 6'11", 210-pound big man in the 2024 class, Jamie Vinson. He was committed to Vandy. When they got rid of Stackhouse, he, changed his mind. And now Kentucky has, reached out, offered. He's visited this week. I believe it was on the 20th, maybe the day before. But here's my question for you, Carson. This, to me, is a 100%, what's the word? High upside play. You look at a kid like this, you look at that frame and you go, okay, something could happen there. It's like I compare taking a player like this to taking a 3-star offensive tackle. Offensive tackle is a position you can develop players. Vinson, he's not going to shoot the ball.
Yeah, 3-star offensive tackle that's 6'7", because he can grow into his body and be great.
Exactly, and that's kind of what I'm getting at here is 6'11", 210. I mean, this dude can put on muscle. You get him some more bag down low in the post. He can be a good basketball player. He's not going to play this year if you land Vinson. That's just the reality, in my opinion. So it's an upside play. I saw some folks when I wrote the article about this, not like hating, but kind of like, well, who cares? No, I mean, it's not. You don't always get 18 5-star players and then they all go to the NBA and you get 18 more. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like you got to have some of these guys on the end of the bench. I mean, Jordan Burks was ranked much, much, much higher than Vinson is in his class, but I already forget where he transferred, but I think he's going to be a great player. Taking shots on guys like this works out some. And I like the fact that you're using one of your last few scholarships to do it. So he's ranked as the 239th player in the class. He's a 3-star. He's not a highly ranked guy. He is let's see what happens. So Carson, what are your thoughts on this kid on future upside? What are your thoughts on Vinson?
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I think he's definitely a project,
Yeah.
but I do like it. And you're right. I mean, he can put on muscle. Pope can develop him down low. It's really only upside. So, like, I, I'm excited about it. He's going to be a good practice guy. Be
Yeah.
good to go up against the practice. So, yeah, I like it.
Exactly, because you don't need to look at this as we're no longer looking for points, for rebounds, for assists, for 3-point percentage. We're looking for guys. You've pretty much, except for Lanier and the guy we're going to talk about here in a minute, you got everything you need. I think you are now looking for somebody to stick on the end of that bench and say, hey, maybe this dude can turn into an absolute star. We can develop him. Developing players can happen, ladies and gentlemen. That can happen. I seriously, and like this is a joke that you and I have said both on this show recently, Carson, but we are so used to one and done 5-star players. That's not always the case. It's not always the case. You can go get guys to be on the end of your bench and develop them. So it works out sometimes. Not every player is a 5-star. There are other things, and this is just we've been groomed to think this way because of the Calipari era. Nothing wrong with that. It's just where our brains are at. Players like these.
Good example is football. 2-star Josh Allen, you know, gets developed and becomes the best defensive player in the country that year. So
if I'd have been doing this when I was doing this, I bet you I would have written an article about Josh Allen. Like, 2-star, who cares? Whatever. Is he a walk on? I mean, like this stuff happens. You could take shots on players. You have to trust your coaching staff to see talent, to be able to evaluate a talent evaluation. You have to trust your coaching staff to be able to evaluate talent. And I believe Mark Pope can do that. He did talent-wise. His roster was nowhere near Kentucky's last year, and he had a really darn good basketball team because he's got the eye for the talent. And he doesn't need to be 5 stars. He's going to go get him some 5 stars, but he doesn't only need them. And that's what I love about Coach Pope and what I think he's going to do. So last conversation, Carson, not really a long one. Jaxson Robinson, what's your opinion there?
Yeah, as of right now, I'd lean towards him staying in the draft. But I also have heard things that there could be a chance that he's maybe looking at the Chaz Lanier situation as like if he doesn't come here, maybe then we use the NIL money that we're going to give Chaz and have an even better shot at getting Jaxson. But the rumors are about him going to other colleges and pulling out, though that's not going to happen. I could not see him. I could not see him pulling out of the draft and going to Kansas or Arkansas or wherever. It's going to be the draft or Kentucky, and that's final.
It sounds to me like he has a great relationship with Coach Pope, which makes sense. He's been his coach during his college career, but that helps having a great relationship. He said that Coach Pope went to see him at the combine, which is really cool. I think that stuff's going to help. I think that stuff matters. And I'm with you. So a Bleacher Report mock draft came out, had him going 49th to the Pacers. And the problem with this is he is a senior right now. We all know how this works. The more you're in college, the less chance you have. Antonio Reeves is an incredible basketball player, and he'll be very lucky to get taken with the last few picks of the draft. That's just the reality here. The older you get, the harder it is to get drafted. If he comes back to Kentucky, even if he averages 20, points a game, it's going to be hard for him to be a first-round pick. Does he, strike the iron while it's hot when it comes to his name being in the draft? And it's going to be interesting. I lean toward him staying in the draft as well. But I'm with you that if he does decide to come back to college hoops, it's going to be playing for his old coach at BYU, Coach Pope, in Lexington. So last question, and this is another one. I mean, I'm peppering you with hard ones, Carson. I mean, so last question before we call today. You have to pick one. Chaz Lanier, Jaxson Robinson. What are you doing? That's a really tough one. But
That's a good question.
I'll let you answer first.
I think I'm taking Chaz Lanier. And yes.
I'm not.
Here's my reason. I think we need a couple more ball handlers, and I think Chaz does that more than Jaxson does. Another reason is it takes Chaz away from the, team down south, who also painted that rock that said "Welcome Home, Chaz," but the rock looks like the state of Kentucky. So I don't understand why they love that rock so much. Plus it got painted again. It said Chaz to Kentucky. But
that's awesome.
yeah. Other than that,
is that why it took you so? Is that what you were doing?
I might have phoned some friends down there and said, "Hey, you know what? Go and paint that rock something different."
Yeah. Okay. There you go. That's funny. But I mean, I'll be honest with you. If you would have been like, I can't answer it, it's split down the middle, I wouldn't have been upset. I really think.
Hey, I'm going to be happy with either.
I am too. And that's why I'd probably lean Lanier, but we're talking 51-49. And I have a feeling if y'all are saying Jaxson Robinson, you're probably saying 51-49 as well. Like, it is not a wide margin thing. And I agree. I just think you keep them away from Tennessee, the way the roster's made up, I just think it makes sense. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to worry about, if you just get Lanier, you don't have to worry about, is he going to pull out of the draft? You don't have to worry about it. You got Lanier.
Yeah.
So I just think that makes it all easier. I am with you on that. So, Carson, any other thoughts on all these players we ran through?
No, that's about all I got. But I think we need to trust in Pope. I think this year's going to be good regardless, no matter who else we add to the team. And I'm just excited for everything to come together.
Yeah, I am right there with you. So the plan for Thursday is to, and this is unless somebody commits, we have some breaking news. The plan for Thursday is to do an episode kind of breaking down why we believe Mark Pope is going to have a successful tenure at Kentucky. That's the plan for Thursday. If we land Lanier, land one of these other players we're talking about, then we'll pivot. But that's the plan for now, and I'm really excited about it because Carson and I have some strong opinions about why we believe this is going to work and why we believe people aren't giving Mark Pope enough credit. So that will be Thursday's episode. Hope everybody has an outstanding rest of their day today. I know it feels like Tuesday because it is, but the weekend is closer than it appears. Everybody have a great rest of your day, and we will see you on Thursday.